Mikhail versus Garry Kasparov, the two legends of chess, played a very interesting chess game. Mikhail was suffering from illness and still he sneaked out of his hospital to play this game. That's very typical of Tal, as we all know. And also the sad part is that he died in the coming days just after this match. This was his last game, and obviously it's an interesting game as the opponent is none other than Garry. Note that this game doesn't end in some fancy checkmate or something, it only had 20 moves and it was a blitz game. So, welcome all to Chess Nerds. Here we analyze various historic games so that you can learn and improve your own game. So, without wasting your time, let's just directly look at this game. Mikhail is playing with white pieces and he starts with e4, and Garry starts with Sicilian defense. Another interesting opening. Sicilian defense has a lot of depth and is always an interesting one. Tal develops his knight and Garry plays d6. Tal gives bishop b5 check, taking this game into canal attack of Sicilian defense. Garry defends it and Tal plays d4, and now we will be having an open Sicilian. Garry first develops his knight attacking the e4 pawn, but Tal just goes for castle, giving up the e4 pawn. The idea is to bring the rook to the center so that the rook holds the strong control of e5. Garry notices that instead of taking the pawn, he attacks the bishop. The bishop can't go back as it will be trapped, and it also can't go back on this side as it will be blocking very important squares for development. So we see the traits here, and Tal develops his bishop, attacking the queen. The queen just moves away. Tal finally brings the rook to the e file, eyeing on that kings. Garry takes the d pawn and Tal takes it back with the knight. Now Garry plays a very strong move, knight to e5, centralizing the knight, controlling the very important squares. So Tal immediately attacks the knight, but Garry plays an intermediate move attacking the bishop. The bishop goes back and Garry again attacks with g5. Now bishop can't go back as Garry will take the f pawn to hold the strong knight in the center. So Tal takes the knight and Garry gets the bishop. Tal attacks the queen, Garry just develops his bishop. Now we see a very typical move from Tal. Tal is an aggressive player, he loves to stay in the attack. So Tal the magician makes the final sacrifice of his life, knight to d5. Now knight is holding very important squares, so Garry has to take it. Tal takes back the pawn with discovered check. Now Tal goes for queen f3, but unfortunately here, Garry loses on time. The stockfish suggests that black is in total advantage here, but knowing Tal, he had some attack up his sleeve. Sadly, we couldn't see that attack. Tal ends up winning the game. It's very hard to see another player like magician who used to sacrifice the whole board for checkmate. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It will help me a lot. If you want to see any other game, just comment it down. So bye.